Welcome to the World Women's Summit, an event held by the Pocket Project. My name is Maria Leister, and together with our team, I am hosting the summit. In a world where conflict and suffering persist, where the wounds of war are felt across borders and communities, we are called upon to stand together in solidarity. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but amidst the chaos, there exists a place where true responsibility arises, a space where love and fierce compassion can thrive. The Pocket Project is developing our World Women's Summit to address the inner and outer transformation and consciousness shift needed for a culture of radical care to emerge. Each one of us has a role to play. Together, we can create ripple effects of healing that extend far beyond the space of this online gathering. We invite you to bring your sensitivity and presence as you listen and find the inspiration in this conversation that speaks to you and touches your heart. Together, let's be the change we wish to see in the world. We are speaking today with Sayé Yabandeh. Sayé is an Iranian-born Hollywood actress dedicated to raising awareness of global issues and supporting refugees and underserved children and families worldwide. As a humanitarian and award-winning actress, Sayé has joined Virgin Galactic's Next Gen Astronaut program, serving as a goodwill ambassador for Engine program. She connects English-speaking volunteers with Ukraine's young generation during challenging times. As a global ambassador for the Global Citizen Foundation and her nonprofit organization, Sayé.org, she champions education, community building, and sustainable development for underprivileged children globally. Through Sayé.org, she empowers impoverished families, promoting self-sufficiency over dependency. Recognized by Sir Richard Branson as a woman of the world, she embodies the essence of the true global citizen, embracing humanity with compassion. In addition to her humanitarian work, Sayé is an adventurer and athlete. She's an avid polo player, having participated in World Snow Polo Championships and numerous charity polo matches. She's also a swimmer, yoga enthusiast, and has trained with Navy SEAL Team 6 in support of Department of Defense. Her impressive filmography and nominations for Best LGBT Project and Best Female Filmmaker highlight her artistic talent. As she embodies her journey with Virgin Galactic, Sayé inspires future generations to explore the unknown. Wow, welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's so lovely to have you with us and have you join other women in this summit. And after I've just shared with everyone who you are, I would love to hear from your own words who you are, where do you come from, and what truly motivates you.
Thank you so much, Maria, and everyone at the Pocket Project for creating space for the women around the world to come together and to be able to hear one another and support each other. We are as strong as our community and our network, so I really cherish what you and your colleague at Pocket Project are doing for all of us. Thank you for that. In regards to who am I and where I come from, I know I'm from Earth for sure. And about who am I every day I'm discovering a little bit more about myself and figuring out and becoming more whole to what I aspire to be, exploring the unknown, because I may have an idea of who I am or who I want to be. However, the unknown has a more has a vaster meaning of us as an individual. This lifetime, I was born in Iran to a Turkish mother, and I immigrated to United States. And but I truly do not see myself with borders, so I belong to the world. I'm quite a globe trotter. I have traveled over 85 countries, and I lost count by now. But so it's very difficult to say where I'm coming from or where I belong to. I belong to Earth. Um, Actually, it's very interesting because as a next gen astronaut, the spacesuit, when you wear your spacesuit, when hopefully I will be going up in 2026, you get to carry a flag of your country to take to space with you, and you put that on a spacesuit. And my hope is to be able to put planet Earth instead of a flag. So that's what I embody, and I see myself beyond borders. But thank you for the wonderful question.
That's such a wonderful response. And just from knowing you personally and then knowing your more professional biography, it really, your response really aligns with what you've done throughout your life and how you've contributed to global citizens. And it's just beautiful to watch you grow in that space and watch you contribute what you have to offer to everyone globally, especially children. And we'll get into that a little bit more later. So it's also said that a well-diagnosed problem lies in its solution. What do you see as the most crucial challenge facing humanity today?
Such a good question. As I am currently in the British Virgin Island, we are getting some rain. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we may get some water here shortly. Um, I believe obstacle is the way. So I focus on the challenge just to acknowledge it and then moving on to what is the gift of this challenge? What is how could I expand through this? And I truly believe the more we make choices with our heart center, that's where we get the opening. That's where the solutions come. We come back to the knowingness when we slow down, and then our heart can come online and hear what is the highest choice.
Mm.
So despite of any challenge, the solution or one of the tools is coming back to the heart and being, in our heart center to be able to hear our knowingness. Um, so coming to the heart, I think that's one of the biggest gift that we can focus on at this moment to overcome all and every challenge.
That's wonderful. And what do you see as the most crucial challenge facing humanity?
Not being in our heart center, being very much focused with information and technology, which is wonderful. However, the balance is needed. Coming back to the heart, checking with the heart, as you may know of the HeartMath Institute, that they have numerous research that the heart frequency is much vaster than brain. So coming back to the heart has its benefits. So the challenge will be that we're focusing so much with solving our problem from the level of mind and intellect. So if we can balance it with some heart, I believe that it could soften and have more solution for the collective as a whole.
Mm. Can you say a little bit more about, so you just mentioned the Heart Math Institute. Can you say a little bit more about that organization with regard to how you have, or how they have informed you in your journey with regard to keeping centered on your heart as you go through
Mm,
your life and make decisions about the work that you do, and also make decisions about your own personal life.
They have done such a wonderful job, HeartMath Institute, from my knowledge. They have many projects, and also there are free videos available on their website that you could go and learn little tools that you could help yourself, or if you're a professional in this field, your clients, to come back to the heart, to reset your nervous system so you would be able to function at your highest. And one of the research that they have done is that I believe they have these monitors certain places in the world. I know they have one in Saudi Arabia, one Europe, and couple one in, I think, United States and South America, that measures the heart coherence, the pulse as a whole.
Mm.
And I recommend you read on their website so you can be precise with the wording of it. And they had these projects that brought group of people to meditate together all at once, and they measured the collective frequency and how it became more coherent. And that coherence resonated in those areas that the meditation was taking place, that the crime level actually subsided.
Mm.
So it does impact, like when I become heart center and um, I reset my nervous system, it impacts the whole. It impacts beyond my reach. That frequency reaches in the war zone, in the impacted areas. So those research is good to keep in mind that we are so powerful, and just by few minutes of resetting and bringing ourselves to our heart center, not that only we are helping ourselves, we are impacting the world. And the importance of doing it and making it a discipline, because even the research showed that the crime subsided in those areas after the meditators left. Everything picked back up again. So it's important to keep the practice, keep the meditation, keep the heart centeredness, and make it to become your natural state of being.
And I just love that. It just gives me so much hope amidst the crises and challenges that we're facing today, that we can actually, there's actual evidence showing that our collective, the way that we collectively respond and we collectively settle into those challenges and focus on how we can contribute more positively, that positive things can come out of it.
Absolutely. The more we uh, produce, or in a way amplify positive emotion from our heart center, that this practice, I do it with lots of children when I travel around the world and visit children homes. One of the practices that we have, we're getting some mist, is that to place our hand in our heart and recall and feel a positive emotion.
Mm.
And by doing that, we're amplifying that emotion. It could be kindness, it could be joy, it could be love, it could be security, support, safety, whatever that positive emotion is, to feel that and visual it getting amplified from our heart, from our chest to the world around us. It definitely has an impact that we may not be able to see it with our eyes. However, the HeartMath Institute is able to measure that, which is incredible.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. And why don't I would love to get a little bit deeper into that. And I would love your insights and perspective and some of the um, uh, that you've gained through the work that you've done in these spaces. So the subtitle of the World Women's Summit is Collective Care in Times of Crisis. How can we create a culture of radical care?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Such a good question. And I always say there is more than one way to the top of the mountain. So what I may be able to share with you from my experience would be just one tool in a toolbox that I hope it come handy for everyone. I want everyone to succeed. And so I would say to be able to, as women, support one another when the opportunity comes, when that gift comes. And every day we have that opportunity to stand in our power, support one another. And another important things that I have been gifted with this past few months is that when there is unfairness and atrocity, when there is possibly the unbalance between a feminine and masculine energy that presents itself in my daily life, to stand up, stand in my power. I don't mean to fight, I don't mean to protest and push against, but just like a tree in a rain or in a wind, that they just stand. They don't roll over, they don't bend. By standing in your power, we are helping to bring that feminine more into balance with the masculine. Again, I emphasize, I do not agree with condemning or fighting against or resisting as much as I am encouraging just standing strong in our feminine power. And by doing that, I think we are, I believe, not I think, I believe that we are contributing to the collective.
That is wonderful. And it's such a great reminder how we ought to be in the world. And I want to go back to what you just mentioned about supporting one another as women
Mm,
when we have the opportunity to do so. And as we women know, it can be a challenge sometimes to support each other as women, whether or not there are outside forces at play that prevent us from doing so, or our internal conflicts that prevent us from really supporting each other, of sort of things like jealousy and issues of fighting for those spaces where we feel there's a limited amount of space for all of us.
mm,
Do you have
mm.
any recommendations for us as we um, try and work to support each other and come together as a community? Because I think that we must do that first before we can balance out the feminine and negative
Mm,
energy.
mm.
I would love your perspective on that.
I hear you, and I believe that we all had those experiences.
Mhm.
And everything that happens, it's happening for us, not to us. So when we shift the perspective, sooner that we have the ability to shift it to this is happening for me, not to me, the whole lens change. And then we can approach it that way. For example, you spoke of jealousy or the space that two women or many are fighting for. And we think the space is limited. However, first we can take a step back. Is it true? Is it true that this space is limited? No, because we are abundant. So this is a feedback. Why am I thinking that? Why am I believing that the space is limited? Why do I believe in a scarcity? Then that kind of bring us some little nuggets to work on. Oh, I have this. I have to nurture my inner child or have to talk to myself to see what is about this that make me uncomfortable. Because guarantee it's never about the other person or the other woman. It's always about us. So what is this right now that I can work on if I'm feeling there is not limited amount of space, or I have to fight someone for something, or even jealousy is such wonderful feedback. It's such a gift because the moment that emotion comes, if
Mhm.
we have the ability to sit with it, if we have that time that we can dedicate to sit with it and feel it only for 35, 40 seconds. I am not saying dwell on it, because once you dwell on it, we're contributing to it. 35, 45 seconds of just sitting with that feeling of jealousy and see what will come up and getting curious about it.
Mhm.
Why am I feeling that? What does it dig down a little bit deeper? And I cannot emphasize enough to do it with love and kindness to ourselves, because it's so easy. The moment you recognize you're jealous, you get upset with yourself instead of nurturing and say, you know what, I see this is how you feel. I see this is what's going on. Let's go deep. Let's find out, why am I feeling this way, and nurture that and bring it back to wholeness and welcome it back.
Mm.
That makes sense.
It makes so much sense. And you gave us some actual tools and guidance to work with, and to really remember that everything that happens, it happens for us, not to us. And I think that's where we get stuck. It's feeling like, oh, this is happening to me. So
Mm-hmm.
if we can really start to take a few steps back, settle in,
Mm-hmm.
recognize that the world offers abundance, not scarcity,
Mm-hmm.
then just sit with that and become curious. You didn't use the word curious, but I kind of heard it. I
Mm-hmm.
heard it in what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So become curious about, what is the lesson? What's
Mm-hmm.
the lesson in this uncomfortable feeling that's
Mm-hmm.
coming up for me? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lesson there. And then more importantly, once you get that lesson, or once you recognize that you have this uncomfortable feeling, treat yourself with love and
Mm-hmm.
kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Did I capture that?
Absolutely. You're such a
Okay.
good student.
I try. I'm a good listener. I try.
You are my teacher, yourself. Yes, so there's some tools, some bullet points you stated beautifully. Thank you so much for summing that up.
And I think too, so once you get to that place of, okay, I'm recognizing, I'm treating myself with love and kindness, I think there's that other challenging step
Mm,
of then going to the other person and sharing your
mm,
knowledge, or being able to sit with them, and then collaborating. So can you share a little bit more about how do we take these learnings and lessons out into the world?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it is so important to master before we want to teach. The consciousness of the teacher is so important. So as a teacher, we must have some level of mastery. I'm not saying that it's always full, but some level of mastery before we make attempt to teach or share. We can share our experience always. This is what happened to me. This is what I'm working through. These are the tools I have been able to use. This worked for me. This didn't work for me. Sharing is always good, genuine sharing. However, teaching brings it to a different level. So again, I can emphasize we have to have some level of daily practice and mastery before we can teach it. However, like in spaces like this, that Pocket Project has created for us for many years, it's we come together and we share genuinely and truthfully, and by doing that, we are healing the collective.
Mhm. And with all that, and it's so beautiful the way that you said that, it's important to master before we want to teach. So how do we get to that place of mastery? Is there a practice that has supported you to achieve a miracle in the midst of all this
Mm,
suffering and all
mm,
of the challenges, and all the noise that gets in the way of allowing us to really settle into these spaces that you're mentioning that allow us to
mhm,
practice this work? Um,
mhm.
can you share some of what you have learned and share your own practices to get to this place?
Sure. Thank you so much for asking me that and allowing me to share. Um, it is so important to have a consistent practice, a practice that we are committed to. However, it's not rigid. There's no rigidity about the practice because that, just like everything else, evolves. The practice evolves. It serves you now, it may not serve you 6 months from now. So evolves to something else. Many people who talk about lots of inner work, which is I'm very passionate about, I always ask, what is your practice? It's very easy to read and gain knowledge. However, the implementation of that knowledge is that's what I'm very interested in. How does it get implemented day to day? For me, as of now, as of today, I don't miss a day of meditation. And meditation is just like drinking water. It's so nourishing and refreshing, and I look forward to. Doesn't matter where I am, once or twice a day, as much as needed. I want to, I get to meditate. If
Mm,
I'm on a plane, that doesn't stop me. If I am sitting, in a waiting room, it does a perfect time to meditate. I close my eyes and I go for it. So meditation, and many people have questioned, what is meditation? Am I even doing it right? What is right? What is wrong? And some of my clients are always like, am I even doing this right? And I want to tell you, there is no bad meditation and there's no wrong meditation. The consistency of the doing and sitting, it would evolve itself in different stages. There is no destination in
mm,
meditation. So there are many ways of meditation, but I know this people have talked about it in nauseum, but it's just so important because I see the benefits. And that's how every day of my life is filled with synchronicity and miracles. And when
mm,
I see those miracles and synchronicity, it's a great evidence of my work. However, if I don't have the balance and alignment and disciplined mind, I may not even see the synchronicity
mm.
or acknowledge it. So for me, my meditation, and again, it's mind, body, spirit. So it's everything. I have to keep my body healthy with the nutrition, with my yoga practice, with some movement daily, and my mind and the spirit. So everything is hand in hand in balance. One cannot overcompensate, or compensate for the other. So it's so important to be the best version of ourselves in each area of mind, body, and spirit, in my opinion.
So for you, the miracles are in
Mm-hmm.
the synchronicities that
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
observe on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
and that those occur because it's reminding you that you're on the right path and that your practice is, for lack of a better way of saying it, your practice is paying off. And I love that you emphasize practice, the practice of meditation, that there is no end to it. It's part of that journey of doing it every day or however often you're able to do it. But it's a consistent thing that you do for yourself to keep yourself in balance, as well as those other things that you mentioned around mind, body, and the spirit, and how to keep all of those pieces in balance. And how do you do that? Because I know for me, it's so hard to maintain that practice. And it's with so much going on in life, and sometimes life can be chaotic if you have children, if you have work obligations, if you have health issues, or maybe obligations with other family members besides children. How do we maintain a practice to allow us to continue to see more clearly the path that life has set out before us?
Mm-hmm. I must be frank on this one. It may be a little bit of a tough love. However, I know wholeheartedly, so I must say it. Um, We are just simply not prioritizing it because it's so hard at the beginning to sit down, quiet our mind, and sit with ourselves. So everything else becomes all of a sudden more important. The moment we sit down, oh, but I have to send that email. But oh, all of a sudden I'm hungry. Oh, I'm now sleepy. Oh, now I'm thirsty. Oh, I gotta use the bathroom. Like everything comes up for that 10-minute meditation. So I know for fact we all have time for it.
Mhm.
We just don't want to do it. Therefore, we are pushing it away because all of us, if in that sense of having children, having job, having, we can start with 10 minutes. We can expand it to 15 minutes. We have that 10 minutes, don't we? We all have 10 minutes. We just don't want to do it. So once we prioritize it and make that practice consistent, then when the child comes, that's an excellent test to see how deeply we can stay in our meditation. Many times I'm at airport lounges, I travel a lot, and I sit there and meditate. And the person that who's gonna come, I they come, they're like, ma'am, are you done with this? Are you done with this? Are you done with this? They're gonna say it 10 times, then they're gonna move away. But I don't break my meditation. It's not that important for me to break my meditation to say, yes, I'm done with the plate, you can take it. So I remain committed to my meditation, and people understand. Then I have meditated all over. I think in the waiting rooms in the countries that maybe English was difficult to communicate through English with people, and people understand when they see you in meditation. They leave you alone. They let you be, and then when you come back, you see nothing was so important for you to rush to.
Mhm.
Everything is fine. You can get to anything you want to get to after your meditation.
Mhm.
And if I am in meditation and then, somebody comes and do the leaf blower right behind me, or a screaming child, or a barking dog, those are excellent. Such a gift to show me how committed I can be to my time to myself and meditation. So that's how I look at it. Is it weird?
No, and I love how you are instructing us to use life as our practice. Life is our practice, and then we use meditation as the tool to help us navigate through life. I think that's what you're saying. Is that what you're implying?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
not that. So it may someone have a perception that when you want to meditate, you're going to go to this room, everything is white, there is a nice cushion, and there's incense burning, and there's somebody sitting there that looks very holy and centered, and then nobody's talking, and there's a music in the background. That's not it. Meditation should be able to accessible to you at all time. It's an inner space, not an outer space. It's an inner work, not the outer work. So it doesn't depend on the outside. And the more we master the inside and bring it to alignment, outside of us cannot throw us off track too much. Even if it does, it's easier to get back on track and to alignment because we have mastered ourselves. So it's not that, oh, because the cat is meowing, I can meditate, or because the kettle went off, oh, I cannot meditate anymore. Because I am in charge. I am the master. And I can just, I hear the kettle, I may hear the barking dog, but I'm still here.
So
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that there are a lot of our viewers who don't know what meditation is or who don't have a meditation practice. But for those viewers who are listening to you and thinking, I don't even know how to get started here. Where do I
Mm-hmm.
start?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any recommendations, like you would share with your
Well,
clients who say, I don't even know who do I go to? Where do I start?
Sure. There are, again, more than one way to the top of the mountain. There are wonderful teachers out there. There's so much resources. Again, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. There is so much information. There's so many good books. I can recommend some books. If somebody wants to come and have a session, I'd be delighted to cater to that as well. Depends on where the person is. That's where I guide them. So it's very important for me to have a one-on-one to understand where they are and what are they working with. It's not one size fits all. So for some, they may need to just sit and concentrate on a breath and listen to their breath. Maybe that's a good start. For some, they may need to sit, still eyes open, and just see their environment. For some, it may be ready to introduce some guided meditation into their work, into their meditation. And so it's not really a one size fits all. However, the purpose is to calm the mind, sync the heart and brain. And when we bring that to alignment, everything just falls into place. So one day I may need to go on a walk before my meditation. Another day I want to wake up and do some breath work. So even for me, day to day, it's different. Sometimes I want to awaken my brain and bring more energy to my brain. Sometimes I wanted to more go to the theta state and go to that veil, go to that area that like I'm in between world to, to get to tap into the unknown. So there are thousands of ways to go about it. Dr. Joe Dispenza, it's one of our greatest teachers of our time for meditation. I think everybody will benefit from his books and his teachings. Although with him, I must say that you must attend his workshop in order to fully understand his teaching and his meditation. It's kind of difficult to just jump into his meditations because they are different. Um, Whoever is familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, it's not necessarily a meditative voice when you listen to his meditation. So you have to be familiar with his teaching, and then you can feel the power and experience it in your daily practice of meditation.
I really appreciate how you share that the practice of meditation isn't necessarily one way of doing it,
Mm-hmm.
that it requires knowing what you need in the moment. And from time to time, you might change the type of meditation you want to use or the type of tool you need to use. Whether it's one that's more grounding, do you need to be grounded? Then you'll have a grounding meditation where you'll
Mm-hmm.
look around the room and just get yourself in the present and here and now. Or maybe you need someone there to guide you along and tell you where you need to be in those moments. And other times you can just sit in silence with your eyes closed and just really go inward. So it's again, you are even reminding me how important it is to tune in to yourself, tune into what you need in that moment, and don't be hard on yourself and use
Mm-hmm.
the tool that works best for you at the time.
Well said.
Can we go back to your comments on feminine energies and balancing out the feminine and the negative um, in our work and our personal lives?
So good. Yes,
Well,
I've been challenged with that lately.
yes.
Challenged and gifted, I would say.
I
Challenge,
want to hear
challenge.
more.
What did you say,
I
Maria?
said I want to hear more about that. So if you had your way, what
Yes,
would you
yes.
change to nurture
Mm,
feminine energy,
mm,
irrespective of gender in today's world?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Um, yes. So there was moments that I was presented a situation that a masculine was um, imposing, pushing, being aggressive, and it was a safer choice for me to retreat to be soft, to say, okay, I just take the higher road, or which is both are decisions. There's no good or bad. It's just different decisions that will take us to different experiences. My choice was to not to let it pass. My choice was gracefully, kindly, and firmly say no more. You didn't need to fight. You didn't need to match that energy in any way. However, I said no, simply no, and stand firm in my no, gracefully. And I know by doing that, I shifted that energy in a bigger way around the globe for all the women in Iran, in Ukraine, in Russia, in South America that are facing the similar challenges that the masculine is smothering the feminine. I'm not saying masculine as a male or female. I'm talking about the masculine energy is smothering the female energy. I just contributed to empowerment of feminine energy by that choice, by that one choice of saying no more, no. So I take it very seriously when it comes to that. So I make sure that moment to moment, I'm aware of that. Again, every moment is a school and every person is a teacher. So how do we respond? How do we make that choice? Because that choice is not just a passive choice. It contributes to the whole collective and it must be done mindfully and consciously. So for me, is deepening my awareness in a moment and being heart centered so I can hear the higher choice from my heart is a way to go.
That's great. And you mentioned that in that particular moment, that example, that the masculine seemed to be the easier choice. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Mm-hmm. There are many choices. So one choice would be to match the masculine and be that and be more masculine in order to protect or defend or to encounter that situation. I didn't want it to become masculine. I wanted to be feminine, but I wanted to stand up. I didn't want to say, oh, I know this is happening. I just let it go by, let it slide. I didn't want to do that. Because if you let it slide, it will repeat itself. I repeat itself. So I wanted to be the feminine, not fight back, not condemn, however, stand and just say, no, that is not okay.
With grace.
With grace, kindness, and firm at the same time. It's
Yes.
great.
So each one of us has a unique role to play in growing the global healing movement. And at the same time, we are called to work more collectively. How do you see and understand the cultivation of collaboration in our movement and in this movement that we're talking about in this summit?
Cultivation of our collaboration as women, or you're talking about as a whole?
Each one of us, each one of us.
Mm, mm, yeah. So I believe, and I continue working on myself to doing so, um, to be the best version of myself. You started this dialogue by saying that be the change that we want to see in the world. It's so easy to point finger. It's so easy to put the responsibility on somebody else. And it's even easier to want to fix somebody else because we don't want to focus on ourselves. So I would bring it back here. How can I become the better version of myself? Again, physically, mentally, spiritually, all those better version of myself. not to just be kind, 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 give, 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 but yet my physical is going the other way and is not being taken care of or prioritized. So everything in balance. Once we are becoming the better version of ourselves every day, choice by choice, we are healing the collective. We are contributing. We are supporting one another. And one more thing that is very important to me is that they have a vision for the new world we want to see. We all know what we don't want, but what do we want? How is this new world that we want, this new change, supposed to look like? What is it? So in May, we don't want to limit it with our experience of the past, and we want to bring something new. So it could be that the feeling that we want, that emotion that we want of the new world, if we cannot see it, but we know of the emotion, if we want to feel more peace, we want to feel more security, we want to feel more kindness, we can focus on that. The new world would feel like this, even if we cannot exactly see how it's going to come about, we know how it's going to feel. And amplifying that feeling, that's how we can support ourselves and the collective, in my opinion.
And what does that new world feel like to you?
Hmm. It's all the positive feelings. Certainly more compassionate, more compassionate, more in alignment and balance, more safe, more supportive, more whole, kind, loving, generous, abundant, inclusive. The new world feels like it wants to hold me.
I love
So
that.
that's the feeling that I would love for all of us to have with the new world.
Wow. That's so inspiring. The new world feels like it wants to hold me. I love that.
We all like to be held with the loving arms, one way or the other.
So, Saye, we're coming to the end of our conversation today, and I would love for you to share something that you would like to leave our listeners and viewers with today.
Hmm. Yeah. If something is happening in our world that we don't like and we see it and we don't like it, different country or different neighborhood, we are part of it. That's why we are witnessing it. It is not separated from us. So how we respond to it is so important because we are contributing to it with our response. So is this response bringing more attention to how horrible it is? Or is this response contributing to the hope of the future of it? So we have to be very mindful of our response to the disasters and crises around us because we are part of it and contributing to it one way or the other. So I would like to invite all of us to be more mindful of our energetic, verbal response to what we see and witness.
What more can I add to that? Those are great instructions and so inspiring. Thank you so much for being with us today, for sharing your wisdom, sharing of yourself, sharing what you've learned along the way. And I'm so excited to see what more you have to offer in the next coming weeks and years. And I want to wave to you from as you're in the space shuttle in the next couple of years. Please keep us updated on how that's going. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.